gotta come up with a name for this.
That's tough to be the name for it.
I mean, this is not the best NFL threesome going for sure.
Yeah.
I don't like the word threesome. Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag, now part of the Pulse Podcast Network. Since Metallica is coming to Pittsburgh this week, and I'm going, I talked to three big Metallica fans, Mark Hagelauer, Brad Reyes, and Kyle Senra, about the best Metallica songs and albums. I talked to Johnnie Black and Bruce Cagle Jr. from the Scorecrow about the Baseball League Championship Series, and I have my weekly football pick segment with Mark and Coach Warzu. One note, if you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to it, please subscribe. So it does help a lot. So please do that. The Donut Bag starts right now. Okay, Metallica is coming up in Pittsburgh, is appearing in Pittsburgh this week. And in honor of that, I figured we'd do a segment about talking about Metallica. And with me, I have regular Mark Hagelauer. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Very good. And making his return to the podcast, he is at Nyama_KS. Kyle Senra, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Metallica rules!
And first time on the podcast, he is at Mean Mr. Mode on Twitter. Brad Reyes, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Like anything changed from Matt? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the last 5 seconds, it all went downhill.
So we actually had this talk a few days ago, but because of technical difficulties, it didn't record. So now we're forced to talk about Metallica again. Oh no.
Yeah, right. Twist our arm.
Yeah, it was a shame because I mean we worked out a lot of things in that podcast. We solved world hunger, negotiated world peace. It was a very productive podcast, but it's gone, so we'll never have that information. Anyway, so when I know what we did talk about is how we started getting into Metallica, and Brad and Mark, I think you started basically in the 80s. What was like the first album that you got into?
Oh yeah.
For
okay.
whoever, yeah. This is Mark, but for me, like I said, I had a friend up the street, and back then we had things known as cassette tapes, and he let me borrow Master of Puppets, and I listened to that whole summer. Every time I mowed the lawn, and I was just hooked right away. So that's how I got into that. And then when they released Injustice for All, that just got me even more hooked. I like the video for One, and that album, I like just as much. So that's how I got into them.
And I got into them in the 80s by hanging out with the wrong crowd when I was a kid, kind of like Beavis and Butthead. Got my tape from an older dude who I wanted to be like and that kind of crap. So, it was more like, finding something cool and edgy when I was 11 years old,
There you go. Kyle, when was your first exposure to Metallica?
I think based on the years, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but I really got into rock in sort of the early 2000s. It would have been right around the time Saint Anger came out, but I think the first Metallica song I heard was One. I think you mentioned, Brad, the music video, and I remember seeing that, and I was blown away, actually. Suddenly I really wanted to play guitar, which I do now. That's good, but Metallica was definitely one of the bands that really influenced me to want to be that guitar hero.
Okay. So I did a little tournament of songs and albums this week, and let's just go over that and see if the world got it right. So the tournament of songs was basically 32 songs, and I put them in order. Just so you know, here's what I have as the top 8 songs. I have Master of Puppets number 1, For Whom the Bell Tolls number 2, One is number 3, Seek and Destroy is number 4, Wherever I May Roam is number 5, Ride the Lightning number 6, 7 was Battery, 8 was Enter Sandman, 9 was Am I Evil, and 10 was Fade to Black. You think that was a good seeding?
It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I agreed completely with the seating. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. So I
anytime Orion's not number 1, I think it's too low. But that's just personally.
I had Orion as number 14 actually.
That's my favorite number, so there you go. Perfect.
Okay.
It was perfect. You're right. Never mind. My mistake.
Okay. So the first group was Master Puppets, Frantic, The Unforgiven, and Whiplash. And Master Puppets won that in a landslide. I mean, to me, Master Puppets was the number 1 seed, so not that big of a surprise. Or was everybody okay with that result?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
No problem here with it. I mean, the best song out of that group.
I wish Whiplash would have done better. That's one of my underrated Metallica songs. Plus,
I actually voted for The Unforgiven in the poll, so I was a little disappointed with the result because that to me is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Master Puppets had 62% and Unforgiven had 29%. So the next group was For Whom the Bell Tolls, Leper Messiah, The Day That Never Comes, and Creeping Death. This is another one. I love Creeping Death, but For Whom the Bell Tolls killed it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I love both of them as well, but yeah, I do like For Whom the Bell Tolls just a little.
It was just
Creeping Death.
It was just in a bad group.
Yeah, basically.
I love Creeping Death, but
yeah, Creeping Death versus For Whom the Bell Tolls seemed a little unfair.
Yeah, yeah, it did. That was a in soccer they call it the group of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the next group was 1, Harvester of Sorrow, Orion, and Blackened, and one won that in a landslide. Harvester of Sorrow, another one of my favorites. So that's like, but it was a landslide. One got 67%.
Yeah, that's not. No, good.
No, it's really not shocking since it's like pretty much their most popular song, which is their first video. I mean, I could see why that would be number 1 pretty easily. I don't know.
Yeah,
even though I don't
pretty well known, you know.
When I saw the grouping, I knew Orion wasn't going to win, but I figured for it to lose to 1, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
And then the next group, this was kind of close. Seek and Destroy, Disposable Heroes, Sad But True, Hit the Lights. Seek and Destroy won. It was 48%, but Sad But True got 36%. It's another one, tough group. Sad But True is, one of their more famous songs too.
Yeah, Sad But True is pretty well known. They kept it kind of close, but I think the right one won that grouping.
Yeah.
They're two similar songs. They both have really catchy guitar riffs that hit you right away. It was a tough one to vote for, but I would agree. I would go Seek and Destroy there.
Yeah. And the fifth group was Wherever I May Roam, Don't Tread on Me, The Four Horsemen, and Last Caress. Man, I like all these songs, but Wherever I May Roam had 55% and The Four Horsemen had 28%.
That's just cruel.
It is. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the Dave Mustaine song that made it on there, you know?
That's funny.
Nice.
Which ones was Dave Mustaine? Was that Kill 'Em All?
Yeah, he did.
Is that the only one?
I don't think he recorded on that album. I think he just wrote songs. I think they fired him just before they recorded.
Yeah, they fired him just before they recorded, but he got a lot of songwriting credits on it, or a couple.
I think he even has a writing credit on Ride the Lightning.
There might be one. Yeah, I might have noticed one on there, and I was surprised. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Fight Fire with Fire could it have been?
That's possible. I don't know which one offhand, but I remember seeing that. Maybe it was leftover from when they wrote the Kill 'Em All songs and they pushed it back an album. You never know, but
unfinished and they keep reworking it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what actually happened there. Like how do you how do you become too drunk to get kicked out of Metallica? That doesn't something doesn't add up there.
Well, I read or heard or something in the heavy metal magazines at the time that Dave Mustaine was an angry drunk and the rest of them were silly drunks.
There you go.
He just didn't mix with them, and they were like, I'm sick of getting yelled at by the jerk. It's like, keep it family friendly. It's friendly for my family, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
The next group. Oh, this is tough. Okay, so Ride the Lightning was actually my 6th seed. This was the first upset. Ride the Lightning, Fight Fire with Fire, and Justice for All, and Nothing Else Matters. And Nothing Else Matters got 48%. Ride the Lightning got 27%. So this was our first upset. And it kind of speaks to basically a divide that came out in this tournament of basically old versus new. You basically had your fans of the old stuff, and then the line was the Black Album. Everything after the Black Album is like new,
younger
whatever.
fans, probably. Or maybe people got into them later, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Black Album, I guess looking back on it, it was such a huge album. It was their first major hit.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it one of the best-selling albums of all time?
Yeah, probably still is. I know at one time it was way up there, but
yeah,
it's still got to be maybe top 10 or something.
Yeah, so that, and we'll see that divide in a minute. The 7th group was Battery, Fuel, Fade to Black, and The Thing That Should Not Be. This was another upset. Fade to Black won that 52%. Battery had 27%. So another upset. I know some of you guys really liked Battery, right?
Yeah, I had it on my at least my original top 10. I kind of redid it a little bit. Just give me a chance to think about it a little bit. And I was like, all right, I want to get Fade to Black in there. But, yeah, Battery was originally my number 10, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Fade to Black, I think that was one when we were discussing it the first time around that we were all kind of surprised we didn't put on our list more often. It was like, oh, I forgot they made that song.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, they have so many, and, how did that one slip through?
Yeah, and it didn't feel like a Ride the Lightning song either. I mean, it was a real departure from the rest of the album. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it was a little different than...
Didn't they at one point...
Starts,
Didn't they at one point say it wasn't about suicide or something like that?
Yeah, I remember. Keep the lawsuits down, yeah.
Right.
that era where they were going after Ozzy and all them,
Right. Judas
yeah, even Judas Priest got an album. I don't remember any Judas Priest songs making you want to kill yourself.
No.
The 8th group was Enter Sandman, The Call of Cthulhu, Am I Evil, and Sanitarium. And Enter Sandman... Enter Sandman, 61%. Sanitarium, 28%. Sanitarium's such a good song, but yeah, that's as we'll see, Enter Sandman is a juggernaut.
It is a juggernaut.
Yes. So the next round, so we have basically our Elite 8. The number 1 seed, Master of Puppets, goes against Enter Sandman, and Enter Sandman wins 55% to 45%. This was the poll that got the most votes. This is the poll that got me the most anger from people replying. People were losing their minds, like, are you kidding me? How can Master of Puppets lose? What is wrong with you people?
I blame Mariano Rivera.